Good afternoon and welcome to the Camera Ready New York Ask the Agency Port Authority Virtual FAM Tour. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes as we allow for more attendees to join. Thanks for your patience. Good afternoon and welcome to the Port Authority Virtual FAM Tour. We'll get started in just a minute as we allow for more attendees to join. Thanks for your patience. Okay, hello. I think we'll get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Camera Ready New York Ask the Agency Port Authority Virtual FAM Tour. My name is Laura Burning, and I work with physical production and locations here at the New York State Governor's Office of Motion Picture and Television Development. We are so pleased to welcome our partners from the Port here today to take us through not only the incredible locations that the Port offers filmmakers, but also to learn about the process by which to film at them. Before we begin the program, we want to mention just a few things about the Zoom today. We want you to know that at the end of the presentation, we'll be taking questions through the Q&A box located on the bottom center of the Zoom screen. Please do not submit questions to the chat box. There are also all kinds of important links in that chat box, including a terrific lookbook of Port Authority locations. So if you'd like to reach out to any of us or have a look at the lookbook, please go to the chat box to find all of that contact information and links to websites. So to kick things off, I'd like to introduce the Executive Director here at the Governor's Film Office, Yoni Boxer. Yoni, take it away.
Thank you so much, Laura, for that introduction, and to you and the whole team for organizing and executing this great session. Thank you all for joining us as the first Camera Ready virtual event with the Port Authority. Stay tuned, hopefully more to come in the future months. So good to see so many familiar names in the participant list. The governor has made it clear that film and TV industry is a priority for New York State, and key to supporting and attracting film production are our New York State partners. From the Port Authority to state parks and many other agencies, we are grateful for their support and collaboration. At the Governor's Office of Motion Picture and TV Development, we serve as a liaison between state entities and the production industry, furthering the state's film-friendly policies and ensuring all of you in the production community are aware not only of the great assets that we have, but of the particular protocols and regulations that each state entity has. And a special thanks to Rick Cotton, Executive Director of the Port Authority, who among many, many accomplishments like renovated airports, has ensured the Port stays film-friendly and customer-focused. And I know you guys are in for a treat with the people from the Port who are gonna tell you about all their policies. Countless projects have filmed in the port, from John Wick running through turnstiles at the Oculus, Jessica Jones performing stunts on a PATH train, to a mysterious plane in Manifest, which landed at Stewart Airport. And who could forget Waystar Roykoi headquarters in HBO's Succession at the World Trade Center. Quintessential New York story always begins with an arrival or a departure, whether it's a bus station or an airport, a subway or modern skyscrapers. The Port Authority even has their own baseball field. It's my pleasure to introduce Joanna Green and Heather Farrow, who will share with you about Film in the Port Authority properties and their efforts to spearhead professionalism and customer service.
Thank you so much, Johnny. We really appreciate being here today. I'll start with my name. I am Joanna Green. I'm the Director of Branding and Customer Partnerships here at the Port Authority. And I'm here with my partner. Heather, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Heather Farrow. I'm Manager of Brand and Customer Partnerships. I work on Joe Green's team, and we're here to talk about all things filming today.
Well, great. We'll jump right into it. I have to tell you, this has been an incredibly exciting opportunity for this team. Heather and I were presented with a challenge roughly, oh my gosh, I guess it's been almost 2 years ago. We were presented with the challenge of keeping the region filming. And this was, I guess it actually was a little bit before COVID. We were faced with the challenge that the Port Authority for decades has always been involved in film, whether people knew it or not. Those who knew, they knew. They'd see us on the big screen, they'd hear about a scene that's being shot, but we hadn't actively promoted our facilities. It was kind of by happenstance, and many of the things we were doing were kind of disparate. And so what Heather and I decided to do when we took this project on was to put a lot of thought, creativity, some rigor, and to also make it customer friendly, so that when you come to the Port Authority and you say, hey, I saw this incredible area, and I'm thinking about filming a scene or even shooting a series with you all. What can you do for us? We wanted to make it easy for you. We wanted to provide as much information as possible. But I think today we're going to give you a little bit of how we got to this point and who we are. So with that, we'll go into our next slide. So when you think about the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, well, who are we? You know, most people initially think it's the bus terminal. Well, yeah, I mean, the bus terminal is a part of our portfolio, but we are a globally and world-renowned organization. We have many facilities that you see every day, from the World Trade Center to all of the regional airports. I mean, we have JFK, LaGuardia, Newark, Stewart Airport, Teterboro. We have pretty much the landscape of airports in the region. We have commuter bus stations, including the world's busiest bus terminal, and that's just steps away from Times Square, and that's in the Midtown Bus Terminal. We have 6 bridges and tunnels, including the Lincoln and Holland tunnels. And we have the monumental George Washington Bridge. We even have the Goethals Bridge. We have the PATH train system that links New York and New Jersey into Manhattan. And we have an extensive marine port complex that serves as a gateway for East Coast commerce. So when you look at this map and you think about all over the New York region, anything that pretty much moves, touches a Port Authority property, whether you're shipping something, whether you are taking a trip by road, we are air, land, rail, and sea when it comes to the region. You can go to the next slide. And here is just a glimpse of some of the important and interesting things that we've done over the last couple of years. You know, right at the World Trade Center campus, we've partnered with the folks from Smorgasburg to host food festivals. This is hosted right in between the Oculus and the towers. And this location brings thousands of people every Friday here to eat, listen to a little music, to commune in this lower part of Manhattan. If you look at some of these photos here, you look at the vast array of services and beautiful facilities that we have. You're looking at the inside of one of our train terminals, our PATH train terminals, which looks very similar to the New York City subway system. We've hosted photo and fashion shoots at some of our regional airports. And many of our bridges and facilities have appeared in television and movie productions throughout the region. But if you look at the beauty of this built-in set, I mean, we already have everything you need pretty much at your fingertips. Heather? But why would you come to the Port Authority? Why even consider us in your planning for films, television, or even events? One, we offer incredibly competitive rates, and we also are incredibly flexible. Again, we have a diverse array of real-life transportation facilities. You don't have to go build it. It's already built for you, and we have the ability to provide a lot of flexibility in the times, in the scheduling for any type of filming or any type of event. We have efficient and customer-friendly and customer-focused staff. Our team really does seek to try to find solutions to any challenges that come to us, and we seek opportunities. If there is an opportunity to make it happen, we will make it happen, because ultimately we want to help elevate our brand, and we are about co-branding with motion picture as well as local film production and even commercial entities. And finally, we're already part of film and television history. If you look at some of the things that we've been a part of, my favorite movie from a child was The Wiz. It was shot at the old World Trade Center campus with Quincy Jones and the team and some iconic actors. We've been featured in several episodes of Law and Order. The Walking Dead has used many of our facilities, port facilities and warehouses and tunnels to shoot things. And the movie Sully was shot at one of our airport facilities. So we've been a part of movie history, and we've had some incredible relationships that have been built throughout the years. And we continue to seek partners and opportunities to not only profile our beautiful campus, but all of the many services that we have to offer. And with that, I'll turn it over to my partner, Heather Farrow.
Hi, everybody. So you may be wondering about our process. Joe teed up the many kind of benefits and wonderful locations we have. It's as we showed from the Walking Dead, it's actually one of their spinoffs, Dead City, that's airing right now. Our spaces can be transformed as well. So they can be, what they are, which is, fantastic real life transportation facilities, but they can also be a canvas for some really, really imaginative requests. So I want to talk a little bit about process, because, we are a big agency. We've got so many different facilities and line departments. So I want to share, share with all of you, what kind of information to bring to the table when you are reaching out to us. And all of this information is going to be on our website, which the folks from New York State will be sharing in the chat. First things first, we definitely recommend that if you are thinking about filming at a Port Authority location, or if you want to learn more about what's out there, what's available, pick up the phone and call us, send us an email. There is lots of contact information on our website. You can reach out to me and Joe for general discussions. We'll always loop in our colleagues from other facilities as we get more into location-specific requests. But it's good to talk about what's possible out there. We can advise you on, feasibility, timing. Important to bring those requests in early, since we do have a lot of partners. If you think about a place like an airport, the airport community, we've got a lot of stakeholders there, from the airlines to the TSA and so forth. So we do ask for as much lead time as you can give us. 30 days is ideal. So we can kind of talk through and identify what needs to be done in order to make things happen and guarantee a successful event. We have an application submission, so we typically won't direct you to put in an application until we feel fairly certain, like, yeah, this can definitely move forward. There is a brand new application form, which we'll talk a little bit about. And we'll show on some subsequent slides, which is actually intended to make things easier for all of you. It's just as well as just kind of overall improve our process. Once we have an application in, then we'll talk with you more about some of the more detailed aspects of your request. So just do an operational review, start to plan out those logistics with you, start to take that deeper dive into your event plan or your letter of intent. We'll determine the fees, based on what you're looking to do. And we may also take a look at some safety things, just kind of ask questions to make sure that everything is accounted for and that we fully understand and are able to support you best in your request. Insurance, of course, as you're all very familiar with that, I'm sure. We typically work with our risk finance team. They'll take a look at your application and provide insurance requirements. You send us your COI and we'll let you know if it's satisfactory. Along the way, we're working on drafting that legal agreement. They're fairly standard in nature. If anything is kind of unusual, we'll typically cover that in a rider. So if you've got some special requests, we can kind of discuss through that and attach that in a rider to our legal agreement. Again, that typically goes pretty smoothly. As we're going through the process, we'll talk with you about, there's certain things, in terms of like signatory authority, state of incorporation, things like that, certain details our legal team typically needs to know. But that's all part of the process. And, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is having a very kind of high touch, customer focused process. And we'll be with you every step of the way on this. Lights, camera, action. We execute the agreement. You start, we'll check in with you throughout. A lot of times the folks at our facilities are, they're very happy to, go over, say hello, see how things are doing. I should know, speaking of facility visits, scouting visits, we can definitely accommodate those. So if you want to pick up the phone and call us, we can help arrange for a scouting visit. And then, once all is said and done, we invoice the permittee. That is, that are the fees that we agreed upon. If there's any reimbursables, of course, we have PAPD officers who, sometimes are providing support for different requests. So we then will invoice you after that. And that is the overall view of the process. I know it's a lot to get on one slide, but we talk through this step by step on our website. And we're also very happy to talk through it with you. If you have any questions whatsoever, again, we're always happy to take a call, take an email, and share more information. All right. Moving on. So as I mentioned, we have a website that is pretty good repository of information that you need to get started. And if any of you have worked with us in the past, say a year ago, 2 years ago, or even earlier than that, you might notice this website looks a little bit different. We have a brand new landing page for film and film and photo shoots, special events. That includes things like if we're running a 5K over one of our bridges. We come in through the same process. We also wanted to make sure that we capture any requests related to drone flights. So if that is something that you would be proposing to use as part of your event, you'll see that there are questions in the application that cover that as well. So we have this new kind of central hub of information. It has a link to a lookbook. We actually have both a Flickr lookbook, and we just added a brand new PDF lookbook that you can download with many more photos. It gives a sense of what you need to get started in terms of the application process. We've got a step-by-step user guide to the new application system, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And then there's also information on the review process, what types of information we look for. That can really kind of help you guide, putting together your letter of intent or your event plan as you're going to submit a request. And as you can see, it is mobile friendly, unlike the previous version, so new and improved. One thing I will note is if you were previously registered on the old version, we're just going to ask you to re-register on this new version. Won't take very long at all. It is actually all built on Salesforce, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It's one of the best in class, kind of customer service databases. And on the back end, that really helps us to better track these requests and build a database, which we actually didn't have previously. You'd put in an application and then it would kind of spit out into an email, and that was that. Now we have a very rich database where we're able to kind of keep all of your records, all in one place. So that way, if you come back to us, you want to work with us again, it'll make things so much easier and kind of more streamlined moving forward. So what you see here is just a little glimpse at what the new login page looks like. Then when you go in here to the new application system, one thing that the new system provides is at a glance status for all of your requests. So let's say you are on the production team of a movie and you're actually filming at several different Port Authority facilities. And that's actually something that's happened recently. Someone was filming on PATH, and then they were also filming at Newark Airport. They put in their applications separately. They were able to go in and then view everything that was kind of in the docket. These are just test cases. Unfortunately, we didn't actually have a cat party or rabbit adoption event, but I wish we would. But when you go in, you'll be able to see your active requests, and there'll be a status and substatus that'll show how your request is moving through the process. And as I mentioned, you'll also be in touch with, with myself or with one of our facility coordinators. So you're going to know, what your status is, and we're, like I said, we're very hands-on in terms of providing status information and working with people through the entire process. What's really cool for some of return customers is you have the ability to clone previous applications. So let's say you filmed with us and you need to come back for some reshoots. You can come back in. You can just hit there's a clone button when you go into create an event request. And that will just copy over information. You can update the date from there. So again, that's a time saver. It'll have your contact information and so forth. And now we've got secure credit card payment of the application fee. So if you've worked with us for a while, you know that we typically have an upfront application fee, except the upfront payment was, not so upfront for quite a while. We worked with JPMorgan Chase. We have credit card payment processing. It's all hosted by them. It's gone through all of the, cybersecurity, very rigorous cybersecurity testing and things like that. So we're very happy that we were able to make that happen. One less thing to worry about as it, when it comes to moving forward in your application. And the lookbook, as Joe and Laura mentioned, we've got a new lookbook. This is just a little preview of some of the pages. And this really goes into more detail about our different departments, our different lines of business, from tunnels, bridges, and terminals to the airports to PATH, and various locations that are available. And it's really just a smattering because we have so many locations, and there's so many things that we're eager to talk to you about. But there's actually some really interesting tidbits in here too. If you are an architecture buff, be sure to check it out. I learned a little bit when putting this together about the architect who designed the George Washington Bridge bus station. So, if you're looking for specific types of architecture, you might be able to find something here at a Port Authority location. And I just want to talk about some of the behind the scenes work we've been doing. As Joe mentioned, we took this on, I think, close to 2 years ago. And we have been, we've been working in a spirit of continuous improvement. And we've been working with folks from across the agency, from our law team to our risk finance team, to our tech team, and to the folks at the facilities to make sure that we're going to continue to improve and enhance this program. We established the new program management team. We're providing hands-on support to facilities, and that really translates to saying yes to more requests. As you are probably aware, the folks who work on this out at the facilities, they've got a lot on their plate in terms of operating transportation facilities. Thinking about, it's the summer, it's the height of travel season. We've had a lot of redevelopment at a lot of our locations. So, by having this centralized support via our office, we're actually, we're able to help them, move things through the process, and we're able to say no to more things that, may not have been considered feasible in the past. Again, we've created a lot more internal resources for our team who works on this. So FAQs, templates, we've been working on training, helping people learn how to handle the insurance requests and how to work with their colleagues in risk finance on taking your COIs. That has resulted in a much more consistent experience for production teams, making sure everyone is working with kind of the same set of policies, procedures, documents, etc., and that they know where to go when they need help. And we are looking at revising fare structure. We've talked with people who we've had day rates for a long time. Our rates actually have not changed since 2016, believe it or not. We want to look at offering some flexibility for smaller impact productions. We've had folks come and say, hey, we just want to get maybe a couple hours of some B-roll, that sort of thing. So we're actually working with our finance team to, we're working on a proposal we put together with our finance team. We're looking at things like half-day rates, and we're looking at, kind of adjusting rates. So it's not necessarily the same across the board. New York Stewart International Airport, I heard Yoni give a shout out to them through Manifest. Being outside New York City or New York City, metro area, we want to be able to offer competitive rates at New York Stewart. That's kind of more aligned with what you see in Orange County. So we and we want to be able to welcome more filming business to Stewart Airport. So there's more to come on that. That's something we expect to, we're hoping to put into effect, say at the beginning of next year. So we'll definitely keep you all posted on that as we, put those new fare structure into effect. I want to share these key resources, as I mentioned before, since this is very much about relationships and, getting to know your needs and to see how we can make things happen. We are the program leads, as you can see here. Scan that QR code and that'll take you right to our website, or you can simply go to panyj.gov, just search filming or events, and you'll get right over to our website. And, take a look, let us know what you think. As I mentioned, we're continuing to work on policies and program enhancements. And we're very much in the spirit of, continuing to make this as good as possible, because this is something that we are, invested in as an agency. And it's something that, we believe it reflects well on us as an agency to have this good relationship and to be a part of such an important industry in the New York City metro area and the bi-state region.
Thank you all for joining us today. We really are super excited, and honestly, we're proud of the work we've done in bringing the new automated system that allows you to track your applications, but also bringing the lookbook online, so that at least gives you a little taste of the facilities and gives you some upfront information. So with that, we just want to thank you for being here today.
Great. Thank you so much, Joe and Heather. This was so informative. We so much appreciate your time today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A box. There are a few there. We definitely want to get to those. And also, just as a reminder, the links and contact information for our office, as well as the Port Authority filming page and Joe and Heather's emails, are over in the chat box. And I just want to mention, if you have any tax credit questions, go over to the chat box. The tax credit email and contact information and phone number are there as well. So why don't we start off with a few questions? The first one, a 30-day lead time for filming requests can be really challenging for commercials and television series and photo shoots. Will you make any special considerations for these types of productions?
Well, we already do. We do make those. Again, we state that it's ideal to have the 30 because, as Heather stated, it's not just us. I mean, if you just ask Heather and I, we're like, okay, you got your insurance? You know what you're going to do? Let's go. But, our legal team has to review the contracts. But I will say this, companies that have done business with us before, people who are already in the system, they have a little easier time because we've already dealt with them. We know how to do that. We know their production, we know their lawyers, we know we've done the paperwork before. So, but you can't come and expect to do something 48 hours later. At the end of the day, we're an infrastructure organization. So we've had folks call us up on a Friday and want to shoot on a Sunday, and we have to say to them, listen, not only is it unrealistic, but it's not fair to our staff because they haven't had an opportunity to really appropriately manage their resources. And so we'd have to say, okay, folks, you're going to have to work overtime on a Sunday. So, while it's ideal to get the 4 weeks, we really do need that. We have done things in shorter time frames, but again, that's when we've had folks have had all their legal paperwork together. They've had their certificates of insurance together. They've worked with other governmental agencies, and they have, the bandwidth to turn around things with their attorneys. So it's not just the things that are on our end. It's also making sure that if there are certain indemnities that we need to have covered, that the changes can be made in the contract on their end just as quick as they're made on our end. Heather, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just, if the idea pops into your head, I might want to film with the Port Authority, definitely call us. We can be reached anytime. 30 days does not necessarily mean the application has to be in 30 days before. Call us and we will definitely see what we can do. And, we are mindful of this fact, and, we're going to continue. So, one of the things I was actually just talking with our law team about is, making sure there's certain questions that we always end up asking applicants or, permittees when we get to the agreement stage. We may just go ahead and ask some of that, information up front in our application form. So we're going to continue to, make some of those changes and look for those ways. We actually worked with a member of our, we have a team called the Office of Continuous Improvement, and we worked with people who do things like, agile methodologies and customer journey mapping to investigate this process. So, we were paying very close attention to process time all along the way. And yeah, while there are some very real considerations when it comes to, stakeholder mix, operations, things of that nature, we're devoted to, continuing to make this as easy as possible on the requester. So yeah, always give us a call.
Fantastic, thank you. The next question, should we be contacting the facility-specific contacts directly, or should we go through Heather and Joe first?
I think in an ideal world, reach out to both of us. We are constantly in contact with our facility location, our facility coordinators. So if you want to shoot an email and copy, copy myself, Joe, folks from the facilities, it's good to have that level of redundancy if, say an email gets buried or someone doesn't, maybe someone's on vacation or something like that. So you have multiple ways to contact the PA. So I recommend reaching out to anyone who would be relevant to your request. And the other thing is, I think it's important to loop us in because we also can help offer potential alternatives if your first choice facility, cannot accommodate for whatever reason. So, let's say you want to film something at a PATH station and just for some reason it's not working out. Well, we have two air trains that we operate, which can provide a similar look,
Right.
for a similar type of scene. Or, we've got four airports within our portfolio. So we have kind of worked with people to find alternate locations in the past, and we're happy to help do that, if your first choice location doesn't work out.
Great, thank you. Next question. I want to film on the tarmac at JFK or at one of your other airports. Is that possible?
Again, this is one of those questions where, and I think Heather will give us, it depends on the people, places, and possibilities. It just depends on where, the time of day you want to do it, the date you want to do it, because then we look at the feasibility. So we say anything is possible, but you have to let us know the time and date, because we have to be able to reach out to our partners. Like we don't have that laying around in our pocket, but we have to go and say, hey, what's feasible? What type of safety do we need to know? And we can do that kind of reconnaissance. And this goes back to the previous question. When folks talk to us, we do some level of reconnaissance to even before you even submit the application, so that you're not paying for something and then only to be told it's not even feasible. So that's why it's important to talk to us. We have conversations with the facilities folks, and they may say, hey, that's better suited for Stewart Airport because they don't have a lot of air traffic. It looks like a regular airport. It's a tarmac and there are planes in the background. Let's do that. And that's where we can suggest a specific location, and then you can brand it and you make it look like it's any other airport. So it's possible.
Great. Thanks, Joe. We have time for one more question. This is about the trains, the PATH trains. The question is, the MTA subways have some decommissioned trains and stations that can be utilized for filming. Does the PATH have those same types of stations, whether decommissioned or not? I mean, can they film over a period of time and control a PATH station track or platform?
Heather, you want to take that one?
Sure. I don't believe that we have a decommissioned station. I will say that I'm fairly certain we've had kind of train takeovers. I know that there was this, forgive me, I want to say it was Hulu, but I could be wrong. There was a fairly recent, like a Wu-Tang Clan series that filmed on PATH. Of course, John Wick that Yoni had referred to earlier, Jessica Jones. So there is definitely that possibility there. I don't believe there is a decommissioned station though. But I know that we've definitely had things film in stations in like the overnight period. As recently as a couple months ago, I can think of a few examples off the top of my head. So definitely.
So while the station isn't decommissioned, we do have areas that can be pretty much annexed and used for the sake of filming. And of course, we partner with our own Port Authority Police Department to ensure you have privacy and you don't have folks kind of wandering into your scene. So we do have the ability to provide the seeming ability of taking over entire station.
Okay, great. Well, I think we have a couple more questions, but I think we'll get those directly to you, Joe and Heather. I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. This was so much information and really, really fantastic. I want to thank all the attendees for joining us. If you have any questions whatsoever about filming at the port, now you know who to reach out to, Heather and Joe. Again, thank you so much, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.